The Radiana modular range of heating and cooling products comprises a full ceiling panel which can be divided into a square half panel, a separate slim panel which needs to be divided into two slim or 4/4 panels. A modular composite manifold with isolation valves gives you full control over each zone. Fully insulated pipework and our unique pull fittings allow for easy installation. Radiana provide a panel layout design service, which clearly shows the custom layout for your install and the position of each component. Each panel has integrated pipework, push fittings, insulation and drilling guides for easy installation. When your panels arrive on site, they can be cut in various ways. The full panel can be cut in half to make two square half panels. Remove the window opening in the insulation to reveal the pipework and cut the pipework with pipe cutters. Make a pre-incision through the insulation up to the paper lining. Fold the panel away from the cut and with a blade cut along the paper lining to separate the two halves. The full panel will make two square half panels. The separate slim panel needs to be cut in half lengthways to create two slim panels. Without disturbing the pipework, make a pre-incision lengthways through the insulation up to the paper lining. Fold the panel away from the cut and with a blade cut along the paper lining to separate the two slim panels. To reduce a slim panel into quarter panels, remove the window opening in the insulation to reveal the pipework and cut the pipework cleanly with pipe cutters. Again, cut through the insulation to the paper lining. Fold and cut the paper lining, making two smaller quarter panels. Always start with the panel furthest from the manifold. Lighting and penetration layout should be planned prior to installation by the installer. Remove the artery stop plugs and push firmly into the panel pipe ends furthest from the manifold. Lift the first panel into place onto the ceiling grid and fix with 35 4.5mm by 75mm drywall screws. Make sure that the screws are evenly spaced across the panel, taking care not to puncture through the marked internal pipework. The second panel should be prepared prior to lifting, with the straight-through sleeves inserted on the nearest end of the first panel. The stop ends can be disposed of. Lift the second panel into place on the ceiling grid and align the straight-through connectors with the first panel. Push the second panel to firmly butt up to the first panel. This ensures the straight-through connectors are correctly installed between the panels. Fix the second panel with 35 4.5mm by 75mm drywall screws. Make sure that the screws are evenly spaced across the panel, taking care not to puncture the marked internal pipework. Install the remaining panels in the same way. Ensure any half or quarter panels have either a pair of straight fittings or stop ends fitted, depending on the panel layout and piping route. You are now ready to connect the artery pipework back to the manifold using pull-fit connectors and 16mm pre-insulated pipework. You can connect up to 8 full panels to one manifold port. Where zones include more than 8 panels, extra artery pipework pairs and ports on the manifold will be required. The 16mm pre-insulated pipe connects directly into the push-fit connectors within the panels. Cut the insulation back from the pipe end 20mm. Ream the pre-insulated pipe. This chamfers the end of the pipe ready for installation. The pipe can be directly inserted into the panel, ensuring the pipe remains fully insulated. For any required T's, straights, elbows and end stops, we use pull-fit connectors. To install these, cut the insulation back from the pipe end 15mm. Slide the pull-fit collar onto the pipe. Use the pipe expander to widen the pipe. Insert the pull fitting and using a pull-fit tool, pull the collar towards the fitting to provide a secure seal, making sure that the insulation is pushed up to the connector. All tail pipeworks and fittings must be fully insulated to prevent any condensation. Route the pre-insulated pipe back to the manifold. Cut back the insulation from the pipe end 20mm. Ream the pipe and connect the push fitting to the manifold. The ceiling manifold should be mounted in a location suitable for artery pipework to run to the ceiling being served. Space for primary pipework running to the buffer vessel should also be taken into consideration. Each manifold should have a pair of isolation valves connected to the primary pipework. The manifold also contains manual air vents and fill drain points. When placing the manifold, consider ease of access for maintenance, servicing, filling, flushing, and valve operation. Each flow port on the manifold will have an actuator which will be connected to the controller. Clearly label each loop for future reference. If you are installing a 4-pipe system, you will have 2 manifolds supplying each zone, one for heating and one for cooling. These manifolds will have an actuator on both the flow and return. The pipework will join together for each loop within the ceiling using T-fittings before the pipework runs to the panels. Prior to fitting the non-active panels, a full system pressure test must be completed. Attach a pressure gauge to the manifold and pressurize the system with an air compressor to 4 bar. Ensure the system holds pressure for 30 minutes. Leave under pressure whilst completing any required drilling or non-active panel installation. A loss of pressure indicates a leak, which must be remedied before adding water to the system. Under normal wet use, the system will run at 1.5 bar. Non-active gypsum panels are not supplied by Radiana. Once all active panels are installed, the remaining ceiling area can be filled with 50mm EPS insulated backed plasterboard to complete the ceiling surface. With the system under pressure, drill any required holes for light fittings. Care must be taken to stay within the pre-marked guides and not to penetrate the internal pipework. A maximum penetration diameter of 70mm in an active panel is acceptable. If larger penetrations are required, then a non-active area should be left between non-active panels.